Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Lori, and this is Ask Dr. Lori. We're live. That's right. I'm taking your questions. Any questions you want to ask, I'm answering them. It's good to see you. First question, most important, is it valuable? Do you want to know if your art, antique, or collectible is valuable? Then write the question down. And remember, any questions, just put them in the comments. And remember that, the questions have to be broad enough that they'll be of interest to everybody, not just these specific little questions about one specific little object that only you have. But again, is it valuable is our main point. That's what we're trying to get everybody to understand and learn about. And I'm happy to answer your questions. Yeah, it's good to be with all of you. I want to remind you to sign up for the newsletter. That's right. The newsletter is free. It's very easy to sign up. Just go to drloriv.com. And when you get to the web page with drloriv.com, all you have to do, of course, is put your email address right there. See it? Sign up for Dr. Lori's newsletter at the bottom where the email. Put it in, click sign up in that red button, and you, of course, will get the newsletter. It'll be sent to you when we send it out. You don't have to do anything, and it's free. Can old Christmas ornaments be worth something? Old Christmas ornaments can be very valuable, and it depends on which ones. So it can be all different types, can be valuable. The Christmas ornaments from the 1950s that a lot of people remember, in the 1960s, like Shiny Brights, can be valuable. And I talk about these in many videos, and I talk about these in many pages on my website too. But yes, Christmas ornaments can be valuable. The better condition, the better quality, the better value. Yeah, great. Thanks for your super chats and your super stickers. I appreciate the support of the channel. What can you tell us about Picasso's white clown on brown paper? Real or fake? Several stories. Okay, a couple of things about Picasso in general, and then we'll talk about the white clown, as you're putting it. Picasso goes through phases of his career, as many artists do. So there are pieces that, of course, have been reproduced or faked over a long time. Now, something reproduced is different than something fake, okay? Because Picasso reproduced images himself, and that doesn't make them fake. It just makes that he made many copies of similar images, or his printer or his dealer wanted to print pieces. So there are a couple of things with that. But he goes through a rose period, he goes through a blue period, and his clowns are very specific to, of course, his early career work in the early 1900s, between about 1900 and 1906, 1910, that neck of the woods. So his blue period is known for many images of clowns, harlequins, and such, as is his rose period. Circus people, they're oftentimes a subject that's typical for Picasso. Now, many of them have been faked, and many of them, in fact, are still out there that have been faked. Now, remember this also about Picasso. His signature's faked a lot of the time, too, because a lot of people thought, I can draw a cubist or paint a cubist subject like Picasso. Let's just forge his name. So there are fakes out there, too. I've appraised both. I've appraised the fakes, and I've appraised, of course, and identified the fakes, and I've also identified, of course, the real ones. So a picture to the website so I can take a look to tell you whether or not yours is fake. If yours is, of course, not worth the cost of the appraisal for any object, I'll tell you that, and it's free. Is the colorful Venetian glass purchased in Venice, Italy 40 years ago comparable to today's prices, worth more or less? Okay, Terry Lynn, if I understand your question correctly, Venetian glass purchased in Venice may or may not be made by Murano, right? Or it could be made in the Murano style, but it could be different. So here's the thing. Just because it's made in Venice doesn't mean it's Murano, okay? So remember that. And older glass isn't necessarily more valuable just because it's older, okay? If you have a piece of new Murano glass, it could be valued as high as a piece of old Murano glass. So you want to think about that. Just because something's new doesn't mean that it can't be very valuable and very expensive. So that's one of the things you want to look for. But if you can get a piece of vintage or antique Murano glass, because the glass furnaces from Murano, have been going since the 1200s AD. So, you could get a very old piece and it certainly can be valuable. New pieces can be valuable too. So good question on our topic, is it valuable? I have a West Germany stamped silver chain. I'm assuming that means it's a necklace. It's not stamped with anything but West Germany. Is there any chance it's silver unstamped, or is it aluminum? It depends on the actual piece. There are ways, of course, to test metals, and I have some of those testing kits on our specials and shop page. Yes, I get compensation if you purchase a product that I recommend. But basically, when you're looking at this, you can't assume that it's aluminum or silver. It could be another base metal, right? That looks silver in color. It could be silver, but it could not be sterling. So it might be less than 925 parts per thousand, which is sterling silver. It might be 800 parts per thousand. So not sterling, but still silver. High silver content, 80% instead of 92.5% silver content. So it depends. I need to see it. Particularly with necklaces, where should you look? You should look on the side of the links or on the clasp or both places if you're looking for a mark. If it says West Germany, you know that it dates to after 1945. I'm very happy, Wendy. What a cute picture. I'm very happy, Wendy, and thank you for your super chat. I'm very happy to share my expertise and to teach as much as I can. I appreciate those of you who, of course, realize and recognize that my mission is to help you all succeed and to teach you. I appreciate that very much. Those of you who, of course, are devoted to the channel, I know who you are, and I appreciate you all. So thank you. Thank you very much for supporting us. Anytime you support the channel, watching a video, watching it more than once, sharing it with a friend, hitting a like button, whatever it is, asking a question, any of that helps. And there's a lot of information, of course, within the video. So a lot of you are saying, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I really got this out of that video and that out of that video, you know. So I suggest that you use the binge link when you can. The binge link was set up by us so you can make it can make it easier for you to find all the videos. The binge link is easy to find on the web page at drloriv.com. At the specials and shop page, which is at the top of the website, just go down in the big red text, go down and you're going to see a big red binge link. Take that save and huge binge link, cut and paste it, and save it to your clipboard. On your browser, just put it right into your browser and use it all the time. Bookmark it. It's easy to do. So it's it's going to help you because all of the videos are going to be in order. So when you say, Dr. Lori, talk about the Humpty Dumpty, or Dr. Lori, talk about the maquette, or Dr. Lori, talk about, you know, the Frank Lind painting, you know, in the videos, you can go back to those videos and see when I talked about those particular things. So yeah, great. Thanks for asking that question. I appreciate it. I have a lot of classes coming up. You're excited for a video chat on the 12th, which is a video call appraisal with me. I'm happy that you're all excited. I love to chat with you guys. I was talking about some of the video calls today, if you noticed the stories and, of course, the shorts. Also, 2 January classes, yes, are coming up. There's also classes coming up this month and classes coming up in the new year. So you better check those out. How do you find the classes? How do you sign up for the classes? The classes are for everybody. So you don't, you know, it's not like, you know, beginner, advanced, any of that. They're for everybody. Sign up for the classes, and you could do that at the events page at drloriv.com. Events, it says events at the top of the website. It's very easy to find. And I only pointed out where it is on the website. You know, some of you might not be familiar with all the aspects of the website. So I only point that out for you. If you see it right at the top under the all important specials and shop page, right next to home, it says events. Click on that and then scroll down the pages. The pages have to be long because they're pages of a lot of events and I do a lot of things. So, you know, I mean, this week I had an interview. This week this week there were video calls. This week there was a dentist appointment. This week there was a lot of stuff going on. But basically, that's what we want to think about. Thank you very much for your super sticker. I appreciate it. But basically, scroll down the pages. Don't just go, you get to the page and it loads and you're like, oh, it's not here. Oh, I can't find it. You know, look around. And reading helps. A lot of you are spending a lot of time, you know, with, you know, I need this from your staff and that from your staff and, you know, utilizing a lot of staff time when you really could just be reading it. A lot of the information and the answers to questions is there. We want to help, but, you know, you can scroll down a little bit and take a look. So anyway, busy. Thank you for the super chats and super stickers. We need them to support, of course, more videos. And we've been very busy with videos. I was doing some production and taping some videos recently as well. So I hope they help you. And thank you very much for all of your support. But yeah, if you guys are thinking about things like, you know, what you find in the attic, what you find in the basement, what should you look at as valuable in the thrift store? You know, I hope you didn't miss my thrift store shopping list videos. Those videos where I give you the treasure map. to what's what. So that's one of the next things that you should need to be watching for, as well, of course, as Pawn Stars Do America. I hope you're watching me on History Channel's new series. It's a big hit, Pawn Stars Do America, with our friends, Rick Harrison and Corey Harrison and Chumley. But I've had a lot of fun with them, and it's a wonderful show, and I've enjoyed working with it. So anyway, that's on History Channel, and you can check that out too. Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, you're doing a birthday gift to yourself. Well, gift certificates, of course, are available too on our specials and shop page. I like to hear that you're treating yourself. I'm big on let's treat ourselves. Let's not wait for somebody else to give us a gift. You never know, they may never do it. So you've got to say, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to this. Gift certificates, of course, are available too for that person who really has everything and needs an appraisal. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm happy to see that. Do you think mid-century modern furniture will make a comeback? I have to say that mid-century modern furniture has done well for a very long time. Now, having said that, that market did so well from about 2000 until about last week, right? I don't think it really just falls off. I do think that you've seen the market change some because so many people are recognizing names like Haywood Wakefield and Knoll and Bertoia and Alvar Aalto and this kind of thing. Scandinavian designers like Wagner and such. But having said that, I don't really think it's going to be the sort of we're turning our back on mid-century modern furniture. I think it's going to be sort of a drip away from mid-century modern. So making a comeback, I think it's still doing pretty well, especially on sites like cherish.com, eBay, Ruby Lane, and others, Kayo. But I will say that we're seeing more traditional furniture and less modern lines actually come into it. Hi, Patricia. Can sterling silver on copper be valuable? Sure. It'll say silver over copper. It's very popular. It's a silver plating mark that you usually see on trays of the early 1900s before 1940. You could see it later, but usually you see it up to that time period. So silver over copper. Now remember, it's not sterling silver on copper, right? Sterling silver will have 92.5% pure silver. Okay. Then the other 70.75% is basically 7.5% is basically a mix of other metals. It could be zinc, it could be partially copper, it could be lead. So remember, it's not sterling silver on copper, it's silver, which is usually plated over copper or on copper. So when you see it, I don't want you to make that mistake and think there's 92% sterling, there's 92%, 92.5% pure silver over the copper. It's basically a plating over the copper. So the majority of a piece that's silver over copper is copper. Why? Copper's durable. Copper is relatively strong, and it takes to silver plating very well. Very good question. That question helps everybody, right? Because the answer can help everybody understand, oh, sterling silver is different from when I see silver over copper. If it says silver, don't assume it's sterling silver. It may not be 92.5%. Have you heard of an artist, Max Will Ballinger, Indian-based? I have. Okay, there we go. I've heard of him. It's so funny when you guys ask those questions. Like, have you heard of this person? Yes. And because I've heard of him, does that make it valuable? Well, we don't have any of the characteristics about that work of art yet. So again, there's a database. I've heard of a lot of people, and many of you have heard of a lot of people. Some of that time means valuable or not valuable, but it's about the object that's important. Sure, the artists are important, but the object's important, the quality of the piece, the subject matter and such. I'm so glad you've learned so much. I appreciate that very much. And when people badmouth me, I hope you will tell them I've learned a lot from her. Her videos are free. She does a lot to help us because that's what I aim to do, as opposed to spending time bad-mouthing people, which is what a lot of people do. I've been hearing a lot of that lately. And basically, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But for those of you who will say, hey, you know what? I've learned a lot from Dr. Laurie. I'm glad to hear that. I want you to succeed. I know how to do it. I've taught people about this for 25 years. I want you to get it. I want you to learn it. And I want you to share it with others, whether that's through a gift certificate or you just say, hey, why don't you check out her channel? Or I liked this video and I saw that you have these kinds of collectibles in your house and it could tell you a little bit about it. stuff like Hummel collectibles that people will say, yay and nay to. I have a lot of videos about those items that I think other people in your circle might say, hey, this is great. This is great. So I listed a chrome and glass side table on Marketplace. I'm assuming you mean Facebook Marketplace. And a lady got mad that my price was too high. Well, she could get mad at your price. It's your listing. It's your pricing. It's your deal. So, and these people are getting mad. Probably that's a device. That's probably somebody who's using a method or a technique to try to get you to lower the price. I'll tell you a story. I remember a woman came into one of my events with a pedal car, and she said, Dr. Lori, I brought this to an auction, and I was going to sell it at the auction. And I said I wanted $300 for the pedal car because I knew the appraised value. I understood it was expensive. And the auctioneer started yelling at me, saying, that's ridiculous. I'll never get that much for it, and you should just leave it here. She started to leave. The auctioneer continued, or the person who worked for the auction house continued to yell at this woman as she's leaving with her pedal car. Those pedal cars from the 50s that the kids would be in, constructed metal, the little fire engine, the little police car, the little sedan. She's walking out, and the people are yelling at her, saying, you should just leave it here. You should just leave it here. You're wrong. You're not going to get that for it. She said, why should I leave it to them? They're yelling at me. And I said, I know. They're yelling at me. They're telling me that they're not going to get what it's worth. Why would I bother with them and give up a percentage to them? So, people do that as a method to try to get you to either lower your price or to get you to let them broker your object. So be careful of that. You know what? She doesn't need to have your piece. And another tip, which I teach these tips during my how to sell old stuff for profit class. The selling class will teach you which platforms are the better platforms for selling different items. How do you list them smart so you can get top dollar? I wouldn't put that on Facebook Marketplace personally. Some things are perfect for Facebook Marketplace, but not that. So there you go. Thank you very much for your super chats and super stickers. Many of you, of course, are supporting the channel in that way. Questions are great. I'm happy to answer all of them. And what else is going on? Robert Bateman, is his work valuable? Yes, very valuable. Now, you're going, well, which work? Well, what do I look for? What do I do? Need to see a picture. Need to see a picture. How do you send a picture? It's very simple. Many of you have figured it out. Go to, of course, drloriv.com, find values. Here it is. It says send photos, get reports. A little picture. It's a little icon with a camera in the middle of it. Click on that, fill out the form, and fill out the form as I asked you to. I need 3 photos. Front, back, close-up of a signature or marking. Send it to me with the completed form. The form is short. It's not like I'm asking you to write a dissertation over here. The form is short. And then all you have to do is send that to me. I will look at it and I will respond to you with directions. If it's not worth it, I'll tell you, this is not worth it. Don't waste your time or your money. And I don't want to do anything that charges you for it. Nancy, how is Porcelain Lladro market? I've been showing my family and they love you. Well, I love them too. Thank you for showing your family. I'm glad about that. Lladros have maintained their value very well. Why? High quality objects. Spanish figurines in what's called the Mannerist style. They look like big taffy pull figures. They're very elongated and lean. Not like me. I wouldn't make a good Lladro. But basically, elongated figures, very matte colors, very muted colors in light blue and beige and white and porcelain. They're always marked Lladro, made in Spain. They're beautiful pieces. And anything that has again, a collectability like that. The large ones can go for several thousands into the $10,000 range. I've appraised really big ones, complex. And they're sculptural objects. They are figurines, but they're sculptural objects, and they're very desirable. They do extremely well, of course, in Europe. You can sometimes get them selling lower prices in places like the Caribbean, and having traveled the world, I've been lucky to see how the markets work internationally and such. Oh, it's Pastor Izaza. How are you? Nice to see you. Dr. Lori says, I need to see a picture. My t-shirts that say you're all priceless. And of course, I hope you'll support the channel by buying a t-shirt or a hoodie or such. I need to see a picture. Well, I like to see a picture because I can give you a lot more information through the picture rather than having you explain it, right? Try to describe it. It's hard to try to describe it. We've set it up on the website to make it easy for you. And if you're not having an easy time using the website, I suggest you check out your browser, you check out your device, because the website is easy to use. So I want you to take a look at that. But yeah, I've got a million sayings, let me tell you. So, and I have a lucky owl charm that I featured recently. That was a lovely gift as well. And some of those types of things I like to share with you, what I'm thinking, what's happening in my life, that kind of thing. Thank you very much, Lori. There we go. The I'm Priceless little tote. We have a little fanny pack and a tote and a little makeup case. And but Lori is a great supporter, as all of you are. So thank you for that. And yes, you are all priceless. And of course, those are great. Those are great gifts too. Rod, what is the information on the teal and blue bird item sitting on your table? I did a video on Glidden pottery, and that particular piece was highlighted. And I think if you're interested in that, you might want to go watch that video. I think a lot of you are missing a lot of information because you're not using the binge link and you're not watching the videos. But hopefully you will. And yes, in fact, that was highlighted and explained about, of course, its modernist style and its designer and its value and how you can find them. And a video about Glidden pottery. Pottery, of course, mid-century, made in the United States. Okay, so I hope you'll go watch that video. It's not hard to find. You could use the search feature. If you don't know how to use the search feature on YouTube, on my channel, when you're on the Dr. Lori V channel, all you have to do is go to the search and put in, Glidden, or put in, bird, or put in whatever it might be, and it will search for you. So it's really quite easy to do, as opposed to going, Dr. Lori, can you tell me where this video is? Can you search for that video? You can use the search. You all know how to do it. It's no different than using the search on Google or Yahoo or any other search engine. It's the same thing. And YouTube is a big search engine, the biggest. So thank God you didn't swallow that metal. Oh my gosh, the metal in the broccoli. Can you believe this? You're eating broccoli. First of all, I'm not eating chocolate cake and finding metal, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, the broccoli. I really couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how big it is. I should have brought it into the studio. It's a pretty good sized piece of metal. I mean, it was scary. And I have to say, my first thought was that it was like one of those, those stalks. And they cut up everything. They just put it all into those bags. I thought it was a broccoli stalk. I did have a thought of, it's just a broccoli stalk. And then all of a sudden it was kind of cold. And I thought, get this out of your mouth. But it was in my mouth. I mean, I almost swallowed it. It was close. So thank God. That was a thank God. I wonder, and many of you told me, many of you went through the comments. You should see the comments. If you didn't go and look at it, go read some of those comments, because, oh my gosh, the stories you guys had about what you found in restaurants, and oh my gosh, it was just, some of you have had a similar experience. So, and it's always cool to hear from you guys. I like to hear the community. Can papier-mâché figures be? Yes, particularly German papier-mâché figures of Halloween characters or other figures. But papier-mâché can be extremely desirable. A lot of people collect it. Papier-mâché Christmas ornaments, for example. But yeah, that's a good question. That's a nice broad question. A lot of people say, I would pass by papier-mâché if I saw it at a thrift store. Don't. Think about that. Think about that. So that's basically what we're seeing as well. A lot of different items that I want to point out to you, because, I evaluate many, many objects. So there's something that I'll go, oh, this is valuable because of this, or this is valuable in that market, so, and, it's not just this, I think this is cute. Oh, I think this is nice. Oh, I'm not really sure, the definitiveness. Oh, here's Matthew. Hi, Matthew. The glam squad. Well, Matthew, I will tell you, someone who's very close to me, my best friend, one of my sisters, sent me some Lancome products because she loves makeup, and I wanted to show her how happy I was. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, I put in other things that are happening. When there's something that's not so great, I try to put up something that's fun, because it's not always gloom and doom. A lot of times stuff's happy too. So just like this. So thank you all for being with me, and I'm glad you noticed that from, of course, the community and the community tab. I always thought broccoli was evil. I have a friend who used to say, I don't exercise because exercising is dangerous and you could hurt yourself. But I do exercise. I feel good exercising. I'm not a great athlete anymore, but I was never a great athlete. But I'm not an athlete as I was in my younger years. But I have to say that, yeah, exercising and broccoli evil. I couldn't believe it, because I eat a lot of broccoli. I eat a lot of green vegetables, and I cheat. I get them out in the microwave bags and stuff, and but that was not good. Are 1950 Lefton cookie jars valuable? Yes, Rosalie. Yes, Lefton cookie jars, sure. Japanese-made Lefton cookie jars. Also, of course, you'll see the examples of American cookie jars too. But cookie jars in general, people do like to collect them. They're one of those collectibles that a lot of people are surprised are still in vogue. And I've told you many times on many videos that the market for those really spiked in the late 1980s. It held on pretty well until until like the 2005, 2006 era time period. And then it has gone down, but you know, there's nothing like a cookie jar to bring back a memory, right? Whether it's the cookie or just the jar that used to sit on mom's countertop. What's that blue piece on your table? There are a lot of blue pieces on your table. This is my makeup bag. That blue piece, I needle pointed the makeup bag. I usually have a makeup bag nearby. Blue piece here is a piece of Glidden. There's not other blue pieces. You know, loop, my lanyard and such. These types of things are here too. So, but I don't know what else is blue on the table. But if you're thinking of the Glidden, there's a video on it. And this is what I mean. You're saying, oh, I love you, I'm watching. And then you're missing some of the videos of one of the most important pottery pieces that you could find that you could flip for money. You're missing it. So, I mean, I don't know what else to do. I gave you a binge link. I tell you to watch. I want to help you. You got a search feature. I don't know. You're getting lazy is what I think. Anyway, thank you for the super chats and super stickers. And let's get those questions. Let's see what else we've got. I don't know about lump in my throat tonight. The one pottery in front. James, I told you this particular piece is a piece of Glidden. Maybe you just got here, so I shouldn't reprimand you. Maybe you're late, right? So piece of Glidden pottery. I talk about it in a Glidden video. Glidden. If you don't know how to spell it, you can find it in the search. You can watch the video where I talk about it. So, you know, the folks who have already heard me talk about it, I don't want to be repetitious. Okay, orient pictures soon, Patricia. Okay, so any of the photos that indicate, of course, elements that relate to the Middle East or Asia or such, when they talk about the Orient, in fact, is fine. And thank you very much. I've had a great time on video chats, terrific information exchanged. You know, I get to talk to all of you from all over the place. Oh, Dr. Lori, you know, we're just starting to downsize and that kind of thing. That's basically what some people are doing. Some people are like, I went through a divorce and we have to split everything up and I want to be fair because I don't want to have, you know, I don't want, this woman said what I thought was a very intelligent thing. She said, I don't want my children to have us, to always just think of us as fighting. So I want to be fair with the stuff. You know, this kind of thing. Then there are other people who are like, I don't want to be fair with the stuff. I'm mad and that's how it's going to go, but I need an appraisal. There's that. Then there's downsizing. Then there's, I bought this and I want to resell it and I need your advice. Some people have that conversation with me during video calls. Some people are just like, I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff. What do I do? Right? There's that too. Hi, Emmy. What's a C and a circle stamp mean? It usually means copyright. The C with the circle usually means copyright. Basically means that this either design or this particular thing is the work of someone else and you can't take it. There are rules for that. It's like licensing an image. It's like borrowing or lifting someone else's intellectual property. You can't do that either. Some people will take pictures, you know, maybe it's a picture from I don't know where, or maybe it's, especially on the internet, people will just take things and you can't really do that. A copyright is very important. But copyright, if you see it on an object, like stamped onto an object or stamped onto a book, that means that it's the copyright. So that means that basically you do not have the right to copy it. You could think of it that way. Some people think of it that way. But basically, it's something that you should know and be able to recognize. You should see it a lot. Copyright symbols usually come up a lot. Can you tell me can you help me to determine what feed sack 30 dress fabrics or reproduction fabrics in my parasol ladies quilt top? Oh yeah, I can help with that. So if you showed me a quilt top that's been quilted, you want to know that, you know, block in the upper right-hand corner, say there's 16 blocks. The block number 1 is a 30s dress fabric. Block number 2, you know, made by one of the main cotton print manufacturers. Number 2 is a reproduction, right? Or a later piece, maybe from the 1980s, right? And then all the quilt pieces were put together. Or what's a feed sack? It's based on the materials, the different materials, what kind of printing is done, how the printing is done. If you learn how the printing is done, it's called surface design. When I taught at the State University of New York, there was a wonderful professor who taught surface design and how you actually print onto a bed sheet or anything else. So sure, yes, I can help you do that with quilts. And if something has been if the blocks were made in one time period and then they were never put together and they're put together in another time period, that impacts value too. Yeah, I can help you with that. There's a lot of information about that too. Here's Pablo. Hi, Pablo. I'm in Saigon. Okay, great. And shocked with the paintings in some galleries downtown. I'm looking for contemporary pieces for my living room in Texas. Do you recommend anything for novices who want to buy quality materials, technique, shipping method? Okay. I'm glad you mean it. I love you too. Here's what I would say. First of all, there are some fantastic pieces coming out of Asia. There have been for decades. A couple of things you want to look for. Look for established artists. Look for galleries that have had not only a long-standing reputation, but usually have an association with fine artists who have significant training, right? So, question one might be, where did this artist go to art school? That might be, question one. Like the artwork here is by an artist who not only went to the Pratt Institute, but taught at the Pratt Institute. In the United States, that's the equivalent, the Pennsylvania Academy or the Pratt Institute. So you're in Saigon, you're saying, I can't believe what they're actually asking in terms of prices. I want some great works of art. I would also look for items that are, in fact, consistent and typical of what you will see in Asian art. So, you might say to yourself, oh, all right, I want to make sure that I'm looking at pieces that relate to their culture, because history and culture will drive the art market. Has to relate to, of course, contemporary history or culture if you're buying contemporary works of art. So think about that. But great pieces there, great pieces there. It reminds me of when I was in Tokyo, there was fantastic art in Japan too. I have a rare poster advertising a free concert by Harry Chapin on Long Island. Great. He died on his way to the show. Yeah, that's great. This will be valuable for a couple of reasons. I was just talking about history and culture, a particular relation to, of course, an artist. The show where, obviously that never took place. That's always of interest to collectors. Music posters have to be of a certain format, size, and condition. However, a frame can do a lot to help the condition of a poster, particularly a music poster. That's wonderful. That'll have significant value. You can send me a picture and I can talk about value. But those particular characteristics are going to increase the value, where if he didn't die on the way to that show and that show did take place, that piece would have been worth less. So great. That's terrific. Provenance, or how you acquired it, is going to be important too. Provenance, or how you acquired it. Thank you for the super chats and the super stickers. It does help us to continue to make new videos. And one of the things like studio lights and other things that go along with, of course, equipment, as well as the staff. My staff does a whole boatload of stuff to, of course, make all this happen. People go, oh, it's Dr. Lori, it's Dr. Lori, it's Dr. Lori. But I have a staff that, of course, helps with all of this too. Found a bunch of Girl Scout pins. Girl Scout and Boy Scout stuff does very well. Did you watch the Real Bargains about the Boy Scout sash? You should watch the Real Bargains videos. If you missed that one, go through the binge link and watch one of the Real Bargains videos. I talk a lot about how do you identify the Girl Scout and the Boy Scout pieces. I also have a web page about Girl Scout collectibles too. You found them in the trash. Will they ever be worth anything? They're definitely worth everything, Alicia. They're worth it now, right now. So get them out of the trash. A lot of people throwing stuff in the trash. There are a lot of people who go through the trash and find stuff. However, they don't always know the value, so I can help you with the values. Yep, that's right. And a correct identification, because an appraisal is two things, a correct identification and a value. So don't just think, oh, well, I can figure out the value, Dr. Lori. You need an appraisal that has two parts. How are you, Don? How are you? I'm doing okay. I've got back to okay today, so that's good. I hope you're well. And thank you very much for supporting the channel, for all that you do, So, yeah, exciting. Lots of stuff going on, that's for sure. Other questions? Let's see what we've got. Very, very busy this, of course, this week, and we've got more coming up. We've got, as I said, Pawn Stars, of course, coming up, and Again, we have a lot of things that have been of interest that have come up with respect to the TV show. Oriental paintings on silk that are painted as well as partly embroidered. You know, I had this in a video call today. It's interesting that you would actually say this, because sometimes what it is the silk images are actually painted on, and then there's either forbidden stitch embroidery, where you can't even see the stitches. You have to like really get in there with the loop to see the stitches. Or they're open work embroidery, which is where you understand it's obvious that it's embroidery. They come from a certain date range. I've seen them all the way back, of course, into the ancient world, but the ones that we see more recently, let me put it that way, are usually anytime between like 1875, 1880, 1868, like that time period, 1875 until about 1950. That's when I see most of the more modern ones. They can have significant value. It depends on the subject matter. So the typical Asian subject matter, you typically will see cranes, poppies, chrysanthemum flowers, temples, is that usually what we see. And then also whether there's any gold stitching or silver stitching in it, that usually will impact value too. Sure. Any input on art on Lenox art glass? Tom, thank you very much for all your support of the channel, as well as in comments. I appreciate it. I thought they only made ceramic pieces. I've seen some Lenox art glass, not as popular in my view as the ceramic pieces. I always say if you're going to stick to glass, you're going to collect glass, or you're going to collect ceramic, you know, go with those brand names that are doing one thing rather than both, right? I mean, you know, Murano doesn't make ceramics. You know, everybody knows Murano's glass. And typically, if they were making ceramics, it probably wouldn't catch up to the quality and the demand that the glass has. So Lenox art glass, it's good, but it certainly isn't what the Lenox ceramic pieces are. So, and it's Lenex, one N, for the Lenox ceramic pieces. They've been making them for a very, very long time, a well-established American company. That doesn't mean the glass pieces are bad. It's just an opportunity for them to get into a different market and expand their marketing. But, you know, traditional pieces for a maker like that is what you should be, what I think you could be looking for. You'll do better on the resale market with that. But thank you again, Tom. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I'm so glad you found me, Beck, right? I'm very happy that you found me. And of course, the channel, there's a whole lot to find here on the channel. There's a whole lot, and I do answer, of course, those questions. And it's always good to be with all of you. You found a resin Lenox pencil from Santa from the 1990s. Okay, you are finding different things, right? And I want you to be careful with respect to whether or not you're seeing something with the Lenox name that isn't the well-known company that makes, of course, the China dinnerware and made it with different marks throughout the 1950s. You know, the gold marks and the green marks and such. So just be aware of that. Resin pieces, a lot of the manufacturers do get involved with resin pieces because they are easy to manufacture, very inexpensive, you know, cast wax, basically, that's painted. A lot of people actually do that. I'm not a big advocate of collecting wax or resin pieces because they, of course, aren't of a high quality material. I like you to get a high quality material and identify it as such. Could you flip that and make some money on it? Well, you might make a buck or two here, but you're really not going to be able to get a good resale on that particular piece, right? So I don't know if I'd even waste my time on trying to buy that, resell it, list it, and such. But that's an opinion. That's an opinion based on the market. And I do all of this based on the market and what the market will bear, what the market will bear. So. Are old silver plate cruet sets with a stand valuable? They were much more valuable about 10 years ago. People do look for that Victorian cruet set, silver plated with the stand. Make sure you have all the pieces that go with the cruet set. They're usually glass pieces. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 of those glass pieces that you'll see. Oftentimes there's 5, maybe even 6 in the Victorian ones with the stand and the handle, and they are silver plated. And usually made by Meriden, the International Silver Company, Meriden, Connecticut or such. But that's good. So, and yes, that's what I want to do. I want to help you make more money. I want to help you build good collections. I want you to learn what's correct about art, antiques, and collectibles. I'm Dr. Lori. It's good to be with all of you. I'll see you next time.